guys, welcome to the Romance Writers Room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We didn't have a session in April because it was camp, everyone was super busy, and pretty much everyone got streaming fatigue. So here we are, May, spring is already all here, love is again here. When did it went away? Never. And I got wonderful human beings with me. I'm a little loopy, guys, because I'm tired. But, loopy Esther is a good time Esther, so. Let's start with introductions, starting with Des all the way back to me.
Alrighty, friends. Hello. Happy Monday. I am Desiree M. Ortega. You can find me on YouTube under Coffee Reading Writing. I post weekly videos there. I stream Mondays at 8 p.m. right by the Moon live streams over there as well. And you can find me on Twitch Tuesday through Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/Desiree M. Ortega. And I have a release under my pen name with Tiffany Russell, which is Des Lorray. And our 2 free books come out tomorrow if you are signed up for the newsletter. So really exciting times. Yeah.
And hi, I'm Nia, the Vixen of Fiction, all over the interwebs. I am a writer, an artist, a mom of 4, and a Loki mom, and a fitness instructor. I don't know if I said that because it's been a long day, but I'm so happy to be here. I stream Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. here on YouTube, and on Twitch, I now stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noonish, 11 or noon for the lunch hour, a little longer on Mondays and Fridays. So you can find me over on Twitch as well. Laura.
Hi, I am Laura Nettles. My pen name for this romance is Kiara Tanith. It does have an Instagram with some character art that I commissioned. But yeah, I mostly write horror. I have written short gothic romance. So like grave digging, body snatching, and haunting your new spouse after you die. So like
little Northanger Abbey-esque. We love it.
A little different than traditional romance nowadays. So yeah, this is gonna be fun.
It is gonna be fun. So you guys are in my virtual home, my channel, Esther Maria Andujar. I am a Puerto Rican writer aspiring to be a hybrid author. I'm not going to promote anything besides just our friend, author Daisy Carpenter. I pinned the comment with her links for her GoFundMe and her coffee. She's going through a tough situation, and she needs to start over everything all over. So any help that you can lend her will be much appreciated. If you can't, just share the links as much as you can, as wide as you can, so we can help her get back on her feet. Yeah. So that's my only promotion for tonight. So let's start. Our last Romance Writers Zooms was in February, so we were like sci-fi and fantasy and romance. Now we're under one of the fantasy umbrellas, paranormal romance, which we all love. It's some of us are guilty and has our entire heart that specific genre. So when Laura was like, "Can I come?" and I'm like, "Yes, yes, any chance, any chance." Yeah. So we're gonna talk about balancing story plot with the romance plot. That's kind of like one of the big things Laura kind of like shared with us. that was one of the struggles, and just a couple of like very specific, like how to show specific things. I am not going into a specific because I'm gonna let Laura inform us about as much or as little as she wants us to know, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this all figured out for her. So, Laura, talk to us about Crimson Strings. Even though we have heard it because we love our angsty boys, but for anyone who hasn't heard about it, who has I don't know where the heck they have been that they don't know those beautiful boys, let us know.
Okay. Crimson Strings is the first of a trilogy of a vampire romance. It is between two male vampires that are born vampires. So they were not turned. They're actually born as vampires. And they have a red string of fate. So they are soulmates. Victor and Hadrian are the two guys. Victor has been able to see this string for the last couple of years and just found Hadrian in like chapter 4 and is like, oh dang. So Hadrian has no idea that they are soulmates at this point. Only Victor does, and Victor's keeping it to himself because he is the son of a mafia boss in Russia, a vampire mafia boss. And so his dad is very, you only date who I say or I will off them. So I need this, whatever match we end up with, I will set it up. It needs to be advantageous. I don't care what gender. It just needs to be on my agenda. Hadrian is poor dude. So his dad is a piece of work as well, but in the aspect of being in gambling debts. And so Hadrian, I don't know how much I should go into, but like, okay, so Victor and Hadrian are 2 years apart. They both went to school at age 25 to 100. So 50 to 100, 25? I can't remember. It's in my notes. But like they went to school together for a decent amount of time. And Hadrian had a giant crush on Victor. Approached Victor's dad and was like, hey, can I court your son after graduation? He presents this letter. And Victor's dad is like, heck to the no. Your dad is a loser. You could use this to your advantage. I'ma curse you. So Hadrian is not physically able to approach Victor anymore. And so when Hadrian's mother gets abducted and is being held for ransom until Hadrian can get info on Victor, Hadrian has to find a way to circumvent this curse, get close to Victor, get the info out of him, and save his mother. So there's all this stuff going on. And I need the romance to be where Victor is hesitant because he doesn't want his real soulmate to be killed off by his dad. But is Hadrian using him? He doesn't know because he's in a position of power in the mafia. So he's very hesitant about forming a connection with anybody. And Hadrian still pines over Victor, but has ulterior motives of trying to save his own mother.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole meeting of them as adults, they are 250 and 252 at this point. So they look like they're in their 20s. So Hadrian's like, I need to get Victor to approach me, so I need a surefire way to make sure that Victor is going to come to me to break this curse. So I am going to have this concoction that's going to transform me into a human with blood that is keyed into Victor, that he can't resist it. So he does it, and Victor's like, I found my soulmate. They're a human? What is happening? Aphrodisiac effects happen that were unintended. Things go south. And then kidnappings happen. But that's besides the point. So, it's this whole thing.
Cool plot happened. It's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. Like, very cool plot happened.
So now Hadrian is back to being a vampire, and Victor's like, do you normally masquerade as a human? Like, what's going on? I don't know if I can trust you. And so I need to figure out how to get Victor to trust Hadrian. But Hadrian is being duplicitous at the same time, but is eating at his soul. So he's going to have to come out about it. And so it's like, how do you make the romance keep happening while duplicity is going on? And also, Victor can see the future, so he sees the future and sees one of the possibilities is Hadrian betraying him. So he's like, dang it!
Which can still work if something comes out of the betrayal that helps them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is a lot of like mind
Yeah.
moving and mapping, and I may have or not a brain for it, but yeah. Also, people, this is a trilogy.
So this is
Yes.
all in book one, but yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to ask is the happily ever after gonna be in the last book? If this is this is a true romance.
Yes. So Victor is able to see possible futures. And so in chapter, was it 9? 10. Beginning chapter 10. He sees the possibilities of Hadrian just betraying him to save his mom. Hadrian confessing to Victor, and they are in love, and then killed off by Victor's dad together. And then he sees a possibility of them coming to terms with it, and Victor telling stuff to Hadrian so Hadrian can save his own mother, and they can't be together, but at least they're alive. And then he sees the happily ever after variation that is possible. So I want to figure out how, like, I feel like Victor would keep the happily ever after version a secret of a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because he can't trust Hadrian yet. So he doesn't want to put that out there yet. And so it's like, how do you make it romantic without trust yet? Like, how do you build trust?
So the thing is, I mean, for what I've read, and this is gonna be very true for like dark romances and anti-hero romances. There's gonna be some things that you do trust the person, and then there's some things that you are second guessing that you trust them or not, and then there's gonna be just a very little few that you're like, heck no, I know they will not pull through for me.
Yeah.
So I think pinpointing that could be an option.
I feel well. No, Nia, go.
Oh, very similarly. You're gonna have, they're gonna be going through these basically adventures, because it seems like you've got like the mafia paranormal stuff down, so it's interweaving the romance to make it more of a paranormal romance versus a romance with paranormal.
Here's the thing.
Elements.
Draft 1 was an erotica.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it not all or nothing. Like, how do you find the balance?
With those moments that we're talking about where he's going to do things you got to give him those events, those things as they're going through these adventures together. I'm going to call them adventures as they're going through the things that they're going through, where he's really coming through. Give it enough time that the other one is really feeling that feeling like, oh my gosh, they've really come through for me, to let those feelings settle in before that little thing clicks, like, ooh, but yeah, there he is. Because you're going to want that love feeling to be building strongly, if that makes sense. Because if everything, some of them will be, he's doing something good as he's doing something shady. Some of them will be those, and where he's like, I see what you did there, but yeah, you did a good thing, but I also saw what you did there. Let some of them be like, no, he just did a really good thing, and let that feeling set in for them, but also for the reader, before the reminder that, oh yeah, you're a shady dude,
Dang it.
Let it sit. Let us have it. Let us just yum it up for just a moment before you take it away with the reminder that, oh yeah, he's doing the thing behind the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like what Amy's saying, like, it's a matter of things happen because the love is going to be something that automatically starts happening, even almost against the person's better judgment. They're going to start feeling the emotions. They're going to have those moments where they can't help how they're feeling. And if anything, that's what keeps them apart constantly, is then the reminder that it's like, oh, but I can't fully give into this because there's this one very important aspect that is kind of like holding everything back. But mix in the moments that they're going to happen anyways, because it's a natural chemistry that starts building. And if anything, what is holding them back just ends up constantly being that one thing that, the doubt and the trust issues with what's going to actually happen. I was also going to say, what I find interesting, what I think would be interesting is, out of all your possible scenarios, I think one of the interesting ones you could play with is the one where, so that the reader, is the reader going to know the visions that Victor gets as possibilities? Okay, yes. So they know this. The one that seems the most dramatic to play with would be the one where eventually Hadrian confesses, but the whole that they would get killed off by the father situation, that almost playing out to a T, but fate is fate. Yes. And something can always twist the little string of fate any moment. So it's like panicking the reader that this is going to happen. And then something switches and changes what fate actually thought was going to happen, kind of a deal. Would be really fun.
Yeah, I was going to go in that same vein too, especially because I was going to ask, when Victor see these possibilities, does he see the possibilities including every single player, or is just hyper focused on Hadrian? Because all those 4 scenarios can change if someone in the vicinity of the situation makes a difference decision.
Yes.
Like, let's say Adrian's mom does the last or the only good thing and saves them both. That could be a possibility that Victor didn't see it coming. And it's almost out of character, but it still has a mother's heart to it. Because deep down she still loves her son. It's just situations are just extra shitty for them. As for little moments, you can have Hadrian do things for other people and not do them for Victor, and Victor will be like, damn, he's like, I get him. It really pulls me in. He's really a good person, but why he doesn't do that for me? Because sometimes we see people we like doing things for other people. We see the good in them when they show it to other people, but it's not always reciprocated to us. but it's still kind of like attractive.
Mm-hmm. That I think that's like where the idea of save the cat comes from. Have your hero or your bad guy or whoever it is, your protagonist, antagonist, whoever you're focused on, have them save a cat to endure the readers to them. Yeah, so it'd be kind of like you're doing something like that. You're finding something for him to do that doesn't necessarily have to do with the love interest, but that makes the love interest go, oh, look at him, look at him. You know? And I love
that
the
internal
idea.
conflict.
Yes, and I love the idea of depending, because they're 250 years old, right? But they're still young for vampires. So the idea of not being fully able to completely interpret those visions is still can be in play because they're not as old and wise as their parents. So if you've got a situation where, for example, one of them, Victor's dad, kills them, and that's one of the things, and so that's the end of it. Romeo, if that was a Romeo and Juliet situation, they knew it was coming, so they planned for it. The mom was helping, you know what I mean? So subverting what we think we know with those visions, because he is so young, he sees what he saw, but did he really see what he saw?
And that was a good comparison about the Romeo and Juliet, because they prepared for it, and then no one prepared that she was going to wake up, and that she was going to, and all that twist that ends up happening. So, the vision seems one way, but there are other elements and factors, and possibly, like Esther said, other players involved that switch what exactly fate creates and makes happen.
Yeah, because if they're fated to be together no matter what, is fate gonna make sure that it happens no matter what you think is happening? Fate's like, no, they're gonna be together though. Everybody's dead, but are they? Because fate said.
So Morgan, he sees them all at the same time, one after another, in one sitting.
Okay.
Sort of like less chaotic version of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I need to find my copy. It has been missing for a long time.
I have it on audiobook.
Yeah, I have it in audio and I have it up here somewhere.
I want to get a physical copy so I can write and do all the things in it too.
Yeah, mine has sticky notes and have things written, and I'm like, where is that? I might buy it again and call it a day. So another question, because I feel like you have the plot of the story pretty. I mean, it might not be like super detailed, because I know you're more of a pantser, but you have an idea of what things are happening between the 3 books. Do you know, or do you have an inkling on where you want them to? So do you want them to not be together by the end of book one? Or do you want them to like be together and then just in the and then in the epilogue they're like, well, fuck, we're not.
Okay.
I mean,
there are 3 steps to complete the soul bond. So each book will be completing a step.
Okay, good. So each one is ending with an happily for now, kind of, or lead not but where the reader is not like, the reader has some satisfaction because
there's progress.
I mildly remember the 3 steps, and I don't think every single one will lead into a happily anything.
Oh God.
The progress is good, so the reader does not feel like they're disappointed.
There will be progress that will deepen the bond, which gives them more like
telekinesis. They read each other's mind.
Yeah.
Telepathy.
Telepathy. There we go.
There we go.
Telekinesis.
Which tale are we going?
So like we're gonna get some of that going. We're gonna get being able to feel each other's emotions going, type of thing. But it's gonna be in stages. So part of this is they are going to be separated for a chunk of book one as they do what needs to be done. And so they don't have regular cell phones. they don't have the telepathic connection yet. So it's like, how do I keep the romance going while they are on their quest?
Do they have any connection at that point? Even if it's kind of like unconsciously.
Yes, they do.
Okay. What I would recommend is to lean into that and be like, maybe Victor might recognize it a little bit quicker because he already sees the red string. And Hadrian will be like, why this keeps happening to me? Like, why do I keep feeling this way? Or why does something happen in my body?
Through the string. So when one is on death's door, the other person basically is like, crap, I'm being drained. Like, it goes to the person to save their life. So that may happen. While they're separated.
What if they meet, whether it's literal somehow or it's just dreams, but like they meet in dreams and they have these, so while they're apart they can both have these very vivid oh that's hilarious. Yes, Morgan, we're here. So yes, what if they like actually meet each other within dreams and have these like visceral like experiences together in them, which whether it ends up being real or not, it's going to affect you throughout your day. Even though you're not seeing this person, you're remembering them, you're remembering this dream, you're feeling what you felt in the dream. So they're in the forefront of your mind a lot, and you start missing them a lot because you want to know what's going on. Are they okay? You start getting worried, especially if some dreams are really nice or some dreams are like scary or different things like that.
So
that's when you ramp up the longing. Like that's where you're gonna be like longing, like putting so much longing in it. So also,
dreams,
they can be almost hallucinations. They can be like, am I missing this person so much that I'm already hallucinating about them?
That also does something for when they do see each other. That moment, they'll have that moment of, does he know what I was dreaming? Or were we in that would be just so cute and so fun to play with.
Are you even real? Because I'm gonna go into a little K-drama rant. It's not a rant, it's just an example. So there is a K-drama called Oh My Venus. They almost towards the end of the freaking drama, they separate because he gets into an accident and he doesn't want her to be beside him because he knows his recovery is going to be very hard and it will be like almost impossible. So he just goes away and she misses him so much that she keeps seeing him constantly throughout an entire year. And then when he finally comes back, she's like, looks at him and she's like, oh, again, I'm hallucinating middle of the day. And she keeps walking and bumps into him. Because she's like so used to hallucinating about him that when he's actually there, she's not phased. She doesn't even recognize it. So it doesn't have to be that. But oh my god, when that happened, I bet your little holler that everyone was like, yes!
It's real. It's him.
He's back!
Oh my god, I'm just picturing time apart for Victor and Hadrian and when they actually like are in each other's vicinity again.
It might have to be during another rescue mission.
You know what? Those things heighten emotions.
Okay, the first time Victor is the one who becomes damseled. This time it's Hadrian, and it's just horrible.
Oh. I like the balance there. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Like Amy says, they could also have moments where they wonder how their romantic interest will act in a certain situation, or something, and be like, "Oh my god, they will love this if they were here." Or they could see other people interacting. They're like, so and so does that same thing. Like other people remind
Ooh, a
of each
certain
other.
like move with a sword or something like that. It's like the styling is similar and things like that.
Maybe almost any blonde hair, like when the longing is like really, 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 really tough and like they're like pressing on your heart. Any blonde hair could be like.
Yeah.
And it's that slow motion where they're like walking in the distance, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's them!" And then the slow
then they're
turn,
not.
and it's like, "It's not.
Not
Damn
That's not my mom.
Yeah.
Dang it.
The Umbra Kin by Jamie Applegate Hunter does that. The soulmates can see each other in their dreams, no matter where they are, and one person consent has nice nightmares if the other is in danger. Yeah. Like, my Marina Vampire, they are soulmates. It's pretty much stated from the get-go. That's not hidden at all. Something happens to Ethan that Marina has to kind of like go into the bond to make sure he survives, and they talk that way. And after that, they can talk to each other through the bond, and they can feel each other's pain too. So whenever she gets hurt, even if she's like, it's just a scrap, he's like, "You're hurt. Who the F hurt you? Which motherfucker I'm killing?"
Bring it out. Bring it out. Love it.
So I'm looking at the questions you sent us.
Can we address the tips on keeping, helping the character stay in character?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a huge world builder, and I do a lot of epic stuff. And one of the things, I know that it's going to sound silly or cliche, or like we've heard this before, things like personality, map their personalities either with the Enneagrams, or even just do it yourself. Say, this is their temperament. These are the things that set them off. These are some of the traumas that they've had. Mark those things down, and that way it helps you when as you're taking them through whatever your adventure is. When they come across something, you know how they're normally going to react. And they don't always have to react like that, but just give yourself some room. If you need them to behave differently, give them a reason why. That way, earlier in the story, you can show that though he normally acts this way, he is a marshmallow when it comes to puppies. Okay. So then when he's in this situation and all of a sudden there's an animal in danger and he reacts different, and normally he's like tough and doesn't care about anything, but all of a sudden everybody's like, why does he care so much about that cow? But you showed a little bit before, you're able to foreshadow that, yeah, he's mean to everybody, but man, remember how he cuddled that kitten that one time? To show that, yes, this is his personality, but I can have my character act out of character, but I'm going to foreshadow that there are little triggers that will let them be out of character. So somebody goes, he would never do that. And, your readers are mad at you. But those things really do help. They really do help. And you don't have to use any specific one. I'm not saying that you've got to use this one or this method or that method. You can literally just do it yourself. And just say, this is their personality. They're happy-go-lucky. They crack jokes. When they get serious, something's wrong. If they say something and they're not joking, then there's a problem. And you map that in their characters. And then as you're writing the story and you're going through, the situations that they're going through, you don't have to worry about them switching character, because you're like, oh, he wouldn't say that. This is how he would say it, or this is how he would do it.
And to avoid that, like the on character, just have a set similar to what Nia says with like the puppy or the babies or whatever. What are the exceptions? What are the things that do get a pass, no matter what? Like, what are the things they are willing to risk it all? Or who are the people who they are willing to risk it all? What are the things that they absolutely have no fear towards? And maybe what are the things or the people who like scare them shitless? Like, besides building a personality, if they are like hard workers, what you name it, you can just pull that emotional, like the personality Sora's traits and whatever, and go at it and have a field day. But just have it very specific. What are their non-negotiables, and what are the things that will really break them down?
And if you haven't already, which you probably have, like definitely give a little background to the essential characters. For example, what's his relationship with his father situation? Like even childhood memories that may never end up on the page, but would possibly like it would be the reason he believes, thinks, or acts a certain way whenever his father is in the picture situation, to help you kind of like always have that trigger in his mind as a character, making them as 3D as possible by like having these memories that again may never end up on the page, but they'll help you really build up what like Victor does and acts and says and thinks when anything revolves around his father. And same thing with Hadrian. Kind of situation.
Like if there's a personality type that when they encounter a person like this, they roll their eyes and they get snippy, and everybody's like, "Why are they acting like that?" But then you know that they treat certain people who look this way or behave this way that way because it reminds them of their parent. That way, it helps you keep it consistent. And if it ever comes up,
and like, and it can be in. Yeah, and it can be in the details. Things like, I know people in my life who don't drink specific hard liquors because those were the vices of one of their parents. And they already have way too many traumas regarding to that. So they're like nothing at all. So a small detail will be like, that's the only liquor they have, and they're like, I'm not gonna drink. And other will be like, why you drink? Well, because it's that specific liquor. Or people who don't wear jewelry because maybe they got hit by their mother's or their father's ring, graduation ring, things like that. Just like very in the small details.
That's good.
Hi, Jess.
Hello, friend.
I was going to talk about how we can help Laura think of a way for Victor to tell Hadrian about the rest ring. Because this is a conversation they'll have to have. But again, it's going to be very hard because the distrust is going to be specifically for Victor, is going to be there, I imagine, throughout book 1, 2, and half of 3? That's my guessing. Is there any point in time in the books that Hadrian's going to have Victor's going to have total trust on Hadrian?
So I think the trust comes in book 1. So Hadrian gets abducted and tormented, and Victor is drawn on through the bond to bring Hadrian back from the brink of death and bleeding out on the floor. But so when Victor and Niall, the human buddy, when they go on the rescue mission to free Hadrian, Victor's going to have to explain why Hadrian's not dead. Like, he used the bond. And so also, I think at that moment, Victor's going to see and like realize what life would be without Hadrian at that point, and be like, yeah, I, but
Question.
the whole trust.
Question. Could that be a moment where Hadrian could have given information about Victor and kind of like get him closer to get his mom, but he decided not to? And that maybe Victor be like, this could have been a chance, and he didn't take it. Why? And be like, is his plan more complicated, or does he's like tipping the love balance more to my side than his mom?
Also, I was thinking, because of you want the constant ebb and flow of tension, here we are finally getting Victor to like give into this. And so this trust builds, this acceptance of like, I don't want to live without this man situation. But Hadrian learning about the red string and all this stuff, now he's the one who's momentarily pulling back. Because
you kept this a secret from me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you knew this whole time, and you know, we went through all this together. And then also the internal battle of like, how do I feel about this when I have to betray this man? And
yeah, you know, that's what I was thinking
my
too.
Family member is on the brink of like, they're at risk because of this. So how do I feel now that I know that fate believes I should be beheaded to this person forever?
I was thinking he's gonna be like soulmate or mom. Like, what more? Like, poor Adrian cannot catch a break.
Any person who shielded you from your father, or the person you crushed on was cursed to follow and has tried to get over.
The drama lover in me when it comes to paranormal, and just because I feel like you can just push boundaries a little bit more, is just like let it be a huge blow up. I'm like, let it be a blow up. Just
this is why I asked if they were going to end up together at the end, because I was like, can we go where Dia's going?
Exactly, but I still need them to end up together, right? So it's like you just let it be a blow up, let it break all of our hearts, crush our hearts, drink our tears, and then let Victor come to realize, but I can't live without him. Oh my gosh. And give us something that's like, there's a deeper reason that Hadrian has had to keep it, but he doesn't get that part out. Like there's something else. Like maybe something will happen. Like, you know how they break the curse? What if him saying this other part, this other piece to it, makes the curse, like reignites the curse, and they're like, I'm thinking literally repelled from each other. I don't know what vampire movie I saw this in, but where they're like literally when the witch sets the curse. Maybe it was Vampire Diaries. Like the vampire.
I think it was Vampire Diaries or the originals. Either or.
And then, so, like, you're uninvited, and then the vampire is, like, slung out of the house violently. Like, that'll happen if he gives this one little piece away. So that, like, as much as he's like, I wanted to be able to trust you and tell you all of this other stuff, but I couldn't. And so when they're having the big blow up, he's like it's on the tip of his tongue, and he's like, I know we're having this blow up, but I got this one little reason.
I'm gonna one up it more. If you can figure that out, that Nia recommended, that happened, and right after, whatever they need to do to keep going through the bond thing, they have to be in close proximity. It has to be something. They have to be in close proximity. And how will they be if they're keeping repelling each other?
Yes. And then he does find out what it really was, and he's just now he's devastated because he's like, oh my gosh, he was doing this to quite literally save my life. Whatever the thing is, you'll come up with it. He was literally doing this to save my life. Is why he kept that one little thing that I wouldn't have even been mad if he'd just been able to tell me, but he couldn't. And now can we be together? And yeah. You can make that happen, Laura.
Man, book 2's gonna suck as well.
Yeah.
And in the sense
I feel like Laura's like, people are complaining that I'm making them like very sad and they're crying, and she's like, are they hearing this three? Like they're destroying everything with a grin in their face. We're laughing at how we can break this.
When they get together, it's gonna be like, baby, you're fine. Yeah, it's gonna be like,
we already got your tropes already. Fated mates, forbidden love, mafia, vampires, and then you can add forced proximity. But it's tinged with a curse.
Yes, tinged with a curse.
Ooh, there's so much to play with.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
It's like Dolores said like a while ago, like, this is a lot of layers.
But it's a trilogy, and so
it's a trilogy.
It was a standalone.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It was like, nope, we want more. Oh man.
Let's see. Let me see if we are. Okay, romantic tension.
I love me.
Because this is something I feel like all of us struggle with. Like sometimes if I'm like really in the mood, whatever mood you want to imagine, and if the music is right, if the words are coming, the romantic tension is there, and then there's some times where I'm like, do I even believe in love? What is this?
This is going to be so subjective, because a lot of people, for some people, and I feel like you can interweave them in. For some people, that tension is achieved by they walk by each other and just their pinkies graze, and they get that feeling. So it can be, that tension can be achieved with that. It can also be achieved with, we're on two opposite sides of the situation, and then we're in the room together all of a sudden, but we have to defend our side against each other, and the tension is there. It's like, I want to jump your bones, but I can't, because I might have to kill you.
Yeah.
I also want to punch you. I want to make out with you, but I also want to punch you.
I mean, so there's extremes.
There's you can play with so many variations of tension. I mean, a look across the room, and just, how they're interacting with someone else and what that makes the other one feel. There's so many variations you can play with.
Man, I love it when someone gives somebody a hug from a distance, and the other person sees, and they're like, who that?
Also, they are vampires, so their senses are heightened. So they will. I'm imagining they can smell a lot of things. They can smell layers of a scent. They can see minute movements. They can see if their pupil is dilated or not. They can see a nostril flare or not from across the room. They can hear if someone is grinding their teeth. Like, there's so many sensory things you can play, and you're so good at this, Laura. So I think with your level of sensory description, your romantic tension is gonna be there. It's just picking where and what.
Yeah. And I think with the sensory, because their senses are so heightened from being vampires, one of the ones I like are the breath. Like, you know how you go, when someone comes in, they can hear that. Like, he could see Victor and Hadrian, they could see each other from way, way across the room, but that little, that kind of like, that thing, they can sense that from each other, and like you can't, and then that look that's like you can't deny it, and it's like, they know that they've got caught in that feeling that the other one, like, you know how for regular humans it'd be like when you're looking at somebody and they catch you looking and you're like, oh snap, I saw me looking. There's so many ways you can play with those little things. You can make them. You can have those levity moments where it can be a little bit funny and inject that little bit of humor. Like, oh my god, did he know that was for him when I did that?
Okay, Morgan. Here's the thing. My vampires don't have to breathe, and their heart does not beat, and so it's so hard to try and convey this.
I make my one of the things in my vampire story is that because they have to be around humans and stay hidden, is that when my guy first gets turned, she's telling him, okay, now do this, calm down, drink some blood, and then she goes, now breathe, because he hasn't even realized that he's not breathing. And she goes, to be out in society, these little things humans will notice if you never breathe. Or blink.
Yeah.
Little things. You gotta learn to blink. You gotta learn to breathe.
This is gonna be a little spoilery, but it can give you some ideas. Marina doesn't have a heartbeat, but the way that the bond is currently working, she feels like she has a heartbeat because of the bond pulsating.
Yeah. And the breath, because they're vampires, they still have to speak. So they'll need to take air in and expel air out to speak. So that little gasp can be that. It's not a I have to breathe gasp. It's a, oh my God, Hottie's over there gasp. You'll make it work, Laura.
Or like he's in mid sentence with someone else, and it's just that stuttered breath that happens because they were speaking, but then instantly their senses went wild when they felt from across the room the other one walk in, kind of a deal too. Never
accidentally breathe. I would think just the opposite. They'd accidentally forget to breathe.
They have a habit of breathing while awake because they get a slight high from the oxygen. But like when they sleep, no.
Oh, if they get a high, then probably if they're across the room or they are like pretty far, they could be like, just to catch the other scent.
Yep.
Just be like, let it be a reminder that he's in my vicinity.
What would be interesting is that since Hadrian shape shifts, and he can turn himself into a human sometimes or whenever.
Well, he needed a concoction to turn human.
Human? Okay, well, but if that ever happened again, then suddenly Victor, realizing what Hadrian's human senses are actually on overdrive whenever he's around, could be very enlightening to Victor. Because this whole time, it's like Hadrian acted so calm, cool, and collective situation. And then suddenly it's like, holy crap, like I can sense everything you're feeling right now, kind of a deal. And it's overwhelming and unexpected, and see how that could like play with Victor's mind.
And like, wow, what do I do with you?
Yeah, what do I do with myself, with you, with what? Oh my God. When they see their I love that. Morgan's like finding a way. Morgan's like determined to
choke on.
She's like thinking of every single possibility.
Yeah, there is that too.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
Yeah. Making smell fear, arousal, things like that.
Emotions can tint the taste, the aftertaste of the blood as well.
Oh.
Yeah. But they do have a heightened sense of smell too.
Nice. I think, okay, so we have talked about how to kind of like carry out the feelings throughout the book. We talk about the red string and when, and all that giddiness that we went through about the possible outcomes of that confession leading into book 2. We do you think we talk enough about weaving plot and romance for you, Laura?
Okay.
Do you feel you have a sense of it, or do you have any further questions?
Yes.
Yeah, because you do want this to be a paranormal romance, not a romantic paranormal, right?
Right.
Okay, so that means that the romance has to be at least as equal to the paranormal story. So, and the main characters, Victor and Hadrian, their romance needs to be first, like, I don't want to say first and foremost, but it's their romance. That's the point. I've seen in some trilogies, it was a werewolf one that I recently read. There were times when there was even another person that came in, so that, you know, the love triangle.
No,
but you always know, even when the triangle starts to happen, that our main characters are going to be together. Even when the triangle is happening, they're the focus, as the other bad things are happening, and she's dealing with the werewolf life and all of this other stuff is going on. The two main characters, the ones that are going to get the happily ever after, they're the ones who their story, their romance is driving the story just as much as all of the other paranormal stuff that's going on. So if you ever feel like it's too heavy on the paranormal, like as you're reading, like it's been all paranormal stuff going on, where's the romance? Yeah, you need to go back and start inserting it in a way that feels natural to the story.
So what is romance versus paranormal? Like, what would I be plugging in?
Okay, so I'm gonna keep using Marina because that's just the book that is mostly out there, so it's just easier to use as an example. So, blood for Marina is her vengeance. As everything she does, that's her focus. And then plot for Ethan is his survival and kind of like get an upper hand over Marina. That's plot. That's what they're trying to achieve. Is what they need? No, but that's what they want. That's the external thing. Now, the romance is they are soulmates, and fate has done a shit ton of things to make it happen. So, even against their own plots, romance has to happen and romance will prevail, and eventually that will lead them to kind of like close the external plot. So Marina, eventually she's closing her vengeance plot, and Ethan is getting near to getting an upper hand on Marina, and he's getting an upper hand on few other people and organizations. But a lot of that has been achieved by them being reluctant allies and kind of like them having to spend time together and work together, and me trying to build this romance between a mass murderer and one of the victims. So
yeah, so I would say definitely it's a matter of that you have your plot going on, but what will ultimately achieve success in the end is based on the romance being pulled together somehow by all the external forces. Hello, friends. All the external forces eventually bringing these two together, and so the ultimate plot, whether like Esther says, they have what they want, but what they need gets filtered out by the end, and it's thanks to this budding romance situation that kind of like comes together to help give them at the end what they really needed all along, and then in a way reframes what they thought they wanted, kind of a deal, if that makes sense.
So their misbelief is basically what they think they need to be happy, but what they really need to be happy is each other.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Ultimately, in the most simplistic form. Yeah, in its
Yeah.
most simplistic form.
Yeah.
Because these kids, they have a lot going on. So there's a lot of things that they think that they need things they feel like they're being pressured to do, need to do. But ultimately, what they need is each other. And if they could have, at any point when they can make that happen, everything else is going to, come together. But of course, we're not going to get that till the end. But that's okay, because it's the journey that we're going through.
Yeah. Another example, like for the longest time, the plot of Vampire Diaries was the doppelganger thing. And then it turned into the Michaelsons and the originals and whatever. But through all of it, it was the romance between all of these characters. And sometimes the plot got in the way. Sometimes the romance solved the plot. Sometimes, because the romance is the most important in Vampire Diaries, the plot was like, who are you? Why are you here? Like, let's just scrap you. You don't exist. Plot was plot.
Yep. Plot was plot.
Which is a hashtag on AO3. So,
PWP.
Yeah, it means that there's no plot. Everything is just smut.
Yeah, it's just smut. Or
yeah,
if it's not smut, it's just cuteness. It's just basically these two people just.
It's just a lot of emotions.
Being cinnamon rolls together.
Okay.
It has two meanings: plot, what plot, and porn without plot. So.
Yep.
There you go. Yep.
The more you know. So yeah. Probably, I mean, at this point, I will recommend just to write the story.
Yeah.
And then when you read back, just mark with like a sticky note, is this just mainly plot or mainly romance? And just mark them and then look at them. Where I have too much plot.
Yeah.
Where I have too much romance.
Because on the other end of that, as someone who likes sci-fi and fantasy romances, when this has happened, given a sci-fi romance and you're thinking it's going to be a romance that's sci-fi and you're like, they mentioned something sci-fi-ish maybe twice. It could have been anywhere. And you're just like, I wanted the sci-fi to be added in that. So give your reader, if they're coming for paranormal, give them, which no problem. You got that down. Same thing applies the other way around. If you're going to label it romance, give your people romance. And there's some tropes and the way that the story evolves in a romance, do that throughout your paranormal story. Do that with these two characters. Plot out that romance going along with this is the world that they live in. So you're going to plot that romance out along your storyline.
Right now I'm thinking of Pride and Prejudice, which is a romance. She's not with Darcy the whole time. Like, there's this whole, like, let's go visit the countryside with my aunt and uncle and all this stuff going on. But it does lead to Pemberley. So, like...
And there are those little moments and little tiny sprinkles of building and tension, even from, like, from other people's discussions and conversations and stuff. Like, he keeps coming back to the forefront of her mind, even though she doesn't want him there because of other people and other situations, and because he's the big thing in town, so everyone wants to talk about him, and so she can't escape the situation. And then the Bennetts are also being ridiculously around all the time, and he can't escape that discussion either, or even her family being brought up, which makes him think of her, kind of a deal. And so there are those little sprinkles throughout.
Yeah. I had a thought, but then I escaped. It was like, nope, you're not going to say it. Honestly, I was trying to think of other examples. Because so I haven't read Pride and Prejudice. I don't think I will ever read it. It's not the style of writing that I enjoy.
Mhm.
Also, it can get very heavy, and for a English second language, it gets really hard. I don't think I have watched any of the movie adaptations either. So,
Not even the movie adaptations.
not even the movie adaptation. I am
See,
not
I
huge of a
own the
period
BBC
person.
miniseries on disc.
I have the BBC series of Persuasion and Sense and Sensibility.
Oh yes.
So this
Oh,
is
yes.
the thing. I am not a period
Drama lover.
historical person.
Earth.
So
Yes,
that's one of the. This is why I watch Bridgerton on double speed because it's like I want to like experience the story, but I don't want to be there for that long.
I get you.
And the funny thing is that there are a lot of people who don't think that Pride and Prejudice is necessarily a romance. It is
Mhm.
two things at the same time. It is about what life is like for young women in that time.
Mm.
It is that, so a contemporary
Mhm.
for her time.
Yeah.
It's a period drama for us, but for her it was a contemporary and a romance. It
Mhm.
was the things that, and it weaved so nicely because of all the things that we were talking about here. How even when they're not together, when his name comes up, she has feelings, whether she thinks she's trying to be mad about hearing his name, but she's really not, is she?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and all of those things. He's always on her mind, and then all of a sudden he's busting in the room asking her to marry him against his better judgment, and she's like, "What?" And when she has the opportunity, she's like, "No, dude, that's the worst proposal ever." What? I love that scene so much.
Like I'm probably gonna get the phrasing
together.
wrong, but is absence grows the heart fonder? Something like that.
Absence makes the
Absence
heart
makes
grow
the heart
fonder.
grow fonder.
There you go. So that's probably kind of like the saying you're gonna have to remind yourself quite often when you are writing the scenes where they're not together.
Mhm.
And the way that we grow fonder of people who are not around is because we get reminders of them.
Yeah. I think
Like, for
those songs
example,
were
there's
mentioned
gotta
earlier.
be things that you do on your day to day that reminds you of your sister, of your mom, or your
Yeah.
really close friends. So
Mhm.
think of
Yeah.
what they are gonna go through and visit and the places they will be, that something as simple as a leather jacket will remind them of each other.
Mhm.
And you said that they went to school together for some time, so they
Mhm.
know things of each other. So there could be like maybe he knows, like, when we're at school he got this particular drink all the time. So maybe they're somewhere when they're separated. Maybe Victor is somewhere, and all of a sudden Victor orders a drink that Hadrian would have got, and it's suddenly he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, this was Hadrian's favorite drink." I remember he drank this all the time. Like little things like that. And just, we talked about before, seeing the hair that looks similar, and it makes them turn. These little things so that we're reminded as the rest of the adventure is happening, that always on either Hadrian or Victor's mind is the other,
Yes.
because they see things. And someone mentioned a fighting style, because there will be some fightings. A
Mhm.
fighting style, that maybe somebody does a drop swoop, a leg swoop, and that's like, oh, Hadrian would have done it
is
better.
sword and shifting. Victor is more like,
Which one's the martial arts?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
More
So,
like a
yeah,
hand-to-hand combat kind of style. Yeah.
So,
Also, it was inspired by this. We're not really talking about our favorite novels, movies, or series in the romance genre, but you're in Canada, so I don't know what's the KU thing there. But if you do have access to KU, or if you want to set like a very small amount to maybe buy 1 or 2 ebooks that are in the same vein, like vampires, and read them and see how, like, what's the tone, kind of like how they are building the tension, just to have an idea of what people are reading already within the vampire genre, which is a lot of books.
And you have to trust yourself at the end of the day. Just like you noticed the first draft was too erotica and that wasn't the direction you were going in, then in real life your partner is always and just remember that they do same.
Think of it as a family member. Like, almost always someone in your family is somewhere in your mind, whether it's your mom, your dad, your sister, things
a thought or something. But like, they're gonna have a connection physically, and like they're gonna come face to face. And even though it's done through those means, through other means, it's going to build this natural connection that suddenly surprises both of them, that they're going to be struggling throughout the book. And so, just like everything we were saying, as long as you keep weaving just that reminder of the other, and there's some emotional or internal struggling with what they feel about that, how do they feel about being reminded about so and so, what are their thoughts on different things they encounter about the other while they're gone. Just having those little reminders are going to make a difference. Like, because like you said, in Pride and Prejudice, it was such a long played out thing, but again, there were so many little moments where, because they were brought to mind, and then internally what the character was like struggling with, whether it was love, hate situation, in the whole enemies to lovers situation in their mind. But then just trust yourself, Laura, because you're an excellent storyteller, and you truly are an amazing writer. And what you have written so far has been visceral and amazing. So really, at the end of the day, you may have to, like Esther said, you're going to have to write the full story out, because the first or second draft, you're telling yourself this, because you're doing a second draft, but you're weaving in a way more than you did in the first one. So it's almost like a whole new first draft.
Most of this are all only chapter 4, I think, is old draft. Everything else is all brand new.
So it's a whole new story. So you have to retell yourself this whole new story again from the beginning, write it out, and then when the next draft comes in, and if you want to give it to trusted beta readers, critique partners, whatever, then you can go in and see what's missing where. But you have so many layers, get those layers out first, and then you can play with how to put everything together.
Especially because you might find that some of these layers, some of the things that you've added in, you don't even need those, because you might find that there's things that are like maybe just jumbling up the plot. So if you can find ways to tone those down or mesh them in better, and then you'll be able to find more spots where, okay, now we have a clearer spot for some romance here, because maybe a couple of scenes are doing too much. But if you know what I mean, like, pick some of those. I've had to do this many a time myself, because I write so much, and it's like, did that all need to be in there? It didn't. Take some of that out. Yeah, calm down.
And there could be a lot that you realize, I could put this in book 2 or 3 actually.
Yeah.
So there may come a time where you realize that it's too much for all to be in book 1. Maybe spread it out a little, since it is a trilogy situation.
Yeah. And then you might be able to see that now the romance that you thought, I can't see it. Once you take some of that excess out and move it around, shift it to where it needs to go. Oh, look, now that romance is more balanced now.
Yeah, because this is going to end with like a whole holy war going on. So it's like, it's going to be intense.
I mean, it's hard to work with 2 big genres, which is because even though it's paranormal, is inside of the fantasy genre, which is massive, and then romance in of itself, it's massive.
Mhm.
It's so
And
massive.
And it's
Uh,
paranormal where she's literally creating a new world. You
Mhm.
know, you have all of these things that happen in your paranormal world that are completely don't exist to our natural world. A lot of times when people are doing paranormal, to keep it simple, they're dropping some vampires in this world just like it is. You know what I mean? So we've got vampires roaming the earth with us humans, just trying to blend in. It makes it a lot easier than if you've got like the whole mafia thing, you've got the bloodlines and the fated mates, you've got a lot going on. So you're making it work because we're all just like, whoa, give us more, we're eating it up. So I have complete confidence that you're going to make this work. Because
Absolutely.
you're already doing it, my friend. You're already doing it.
You are.
Sometimes I feel like
it's gonna
maybe
be.
you don't
I'm
know
not
that
gonna
you're
lie to
doing
you. It's
it,
gonna
but
be a
you're doing
headache.
it. Yes,
It's gonna be a headache. But we're here. If you need to keep like soundboarding, just let us know. It doesn't have to be live. But if you want to, I can give you another live. I love you, Laura. So
I think everybody would be more than happy. Yes.
yes, exactly. So we're gonna start wrapping it up, but we can quickly answer Eva's question about the desire and pressure to focus on healthy love. Do you find it harder to write new love or easier? I think honestly, if you're writing on the dark romance or you're writing kind of like dark paranormal or gritty, I feel that there's not a lot of pressure of making it healthy because everyone who reads this know the toxicity of it is part of the fantasy. Because we can experience it through the book and that's it, and we're gonna be safe that way. It might get really hard if you go more on the contemporary or YA sphere.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing a contemporary and you've got someone who is sucking the blood out of people and making people unalive, you got a different story than you do when you have a paranormal romance and it's werewolves or vampires where we're like, yeah, this is normal. If it's, some girl living in New York, living her best life, who meets a cowboy and the cowboy is like doing vampire stuff, but he's not a vampire, he's just a cowboy, we're going to have problems. We don't have problems when we're dealing with paranormal or monster or, shifters and things like that, because we're already expecting this is different.
Yeah.
This is not contemporary. We're good.
For me, when it comes to like normal length novels, since I overwrite, I have no problem like building up a romance to be healthy. It's easier for me. I think where I have found the challenge is now that with Des Lorey, we are writing short romances. So insta love is kind of a guaranteed to happen. But the way we're writing it, we are challenging ourselves to not make it so blatantly just unrealistically insta love. We're actually trying to build some type of layer and foundation, even with the small amount of words that we have. So it's a bit of a challenge, but because I've only ever written healthier relationships, I'm trying to aim that way automatically anyway. It might be actually harder for me to need to write more insta lovey because that's what I'm not used to writing. So if anything, I may have to start shifting a little more towards insta loves than what I normally write, which is healthier. So that stuff comes easier to me personally because I write contemporary. I write contemporary romantic.
One thing that might help you with that, since you're writing it shorter, is insta attraction is not necessarily insta love.
Yes.
Go for the instant attraction. That way, boom, you got that part down. Then it's a shorter period for them falling in love.
Yes,
kind of
I
what
agree.
I do. I don't want to give too much away. But my biggest challenge has been my one that's kind of rivals to lovers. I'm like, whoa, I gotta do a lot in a little bit of time in their rivals. But I'm determined because I love the story, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Please it down.
And at the end of the day,
hence why Marina and Ethan kiss like what episode? Did I say episode 31 or 32?
Yeah,
Like they're enemies to lovers. Like they cannot kiss earlier.
Yeah.
Like that is not.
I mean,
I'm already dealing with the unrealistic of the age gap. So
I mean, technically they could, but not fall for each other situation. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. One way that I'm subverting the enemies to lovers is that they have a mutual person who is like, oh, they'd be perfect together. So I can have them be rivals as mutual person is like, we're gonna put them in proximity.
Nice.
And make this work out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's great. This is a smooth move along. Thank you, extra person. Thank you, mutual friend.
And well, I'm seeing what Hazelnut said. Yeah, insta connection. Hazelnut is what Tiff and I are kind of working at. But yes.
I said episode 33. Okay. I don't. At this point, I don't know friends, so I would just keep writing. So let's start. Wrap it up. I think for the most part, we have answered almost all of your questions. Yes or no? Do we still have? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that we are here to help.
Yes.
So let's wrap it up. So Des and anyone who's gonna be at Des's stream gets a 30-minute break at the very least, including the host of the stream.
Can you guys tell me a
start.
couple of your favorite romance tropes with your outro so I can get some ideas?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So start the outro, Laura, and then we can give you those snips.
Roy really wants to go outside.
Oh,
So lucky.
I'm Laura Nettles. My pen name for paranormal romance is Kira Tanith. I am working on Crimson Strings, a vampire trilogy. Gonna be fun. And I will be around on the interwebs everywhere. Can't get rid of me.
You want me to? And I am Nia, the Vixen of Fiction, all over the internet. I stream tomorrow night here on YouTube at 7 p.m. I'm currently working on a contemporary romance and a vampire romance, and I will be streaming on Twitch during the day, so you can catch me Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. I have Authortubers React this coming up Saturday. I keep forgetting Des and Esther are two of my co-hosts. So we'll chat about a few things and have a good time before we go on a summer break. And yeah, that's me.
Romance tropes?
Yeah, romance
tropes. Romance tropes. Oh, that's what I was forgetting. I was like, was there something else? My favorite romance tropes. Okay, so I'm a sucker for rivals to lovers and the insta attraction, not insta love, but insta attraction. I love that idea of you see somebody and you just make a connection with somebody. You have no idea who they are. Then you fall in love. And the biggest thing I'm a sucker for is, there's only one bed and nothing has to happen. I just that look that you imagine on both of their faces when they see the only one bed. Like, I love it.
Nothing I do have two vampires, one coffin, but yes.
Nothing has to happen, but just that moment when they're both thinking the same thing, like, and yeah, the whole thing. That's I love it.
Love that. Hello, friends. I'm Desiree M. Ortega. I am, yes, that is tomorrow. And wait, what do you mean newsletters were today? Hold on. did I miss something I need to talk to my co-author about? But yes, apparently, officially, tomorrow on newsletters, Des LeRae will be coming out with 2 free books. I'm also on YouTube. You'll find me at 8 o'clock over at Coffee Reading Writing. And I stream on Twitch Tuesday through Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/Desiree M. Ortega. And let's see, I love what is it? Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, fake dating. I literally have to open a list. Soulmates, forced proximity. I do. What was the other one? Brother's best friends are fun too. The whole there's one bed. That's probably some of the top ones. Did I need to name more? I could have.
Yeah, I was like, I need to stop. It's so hard. Like, there's so many good ones.
So, Des, send her your list to Laura later. Because it seems like you have between, I don't know, 15 to 20 tropes you love. I mean, you are a romance writer, so.
I can't
so. You are in my channel, in my virtual house, Esther Maria Andujar. I am a Puerto Rican writer aspiring to be a hybrid author. Even with all the things that had happened on Trappa for 2 weeks, I don't know how much Nia knows. It's been a thing that we can talk on Authortubers React. Jeez. Anyways, pinned at the top of the comments are the links for the GoFundMe and the coffee for our friend JC Carpenter, who sadly has to start all over again. If you want to know specific reasons, go ahead and read either the GoFundMe page or her goal in coffee, so you can, be in the known. What else? Tropes. I am the biggest simp for fake dating. Like, I am whip for that trope. Like, I am its slave. That's hardcore. I am with it. I also like the friends to lovers trope. Not best friends. Best friend feels a little weird. But the friends to lovers, feels a little more real. What else? Am I blanking? I like hidden identities a little. It's kind of like adjacent to fake dating. So anytime someone is lying for shenanigans, I'm in it for it.
Yeah, I kind of want to.
Because again, all the shenanigans that happen because of that. I really like soulmates. Really, really like soulmates. I think those are like the biggest.
You have a list too.
Yeah. I mean, again,
I thought myself after 3, and I was like, "There's so many more." And then Des just went on, and now here Esther is. You have a list, and then Esther's still going up. Like basically almost all of them. There are some that I just don't like. But again, all the rest of them, like,
and anything. Yeah, like fake dating. I know people separate fake dating, fake engagement, fake marriage. I don't like the arranged marriage thing. Unless they do that themselves, which is just fake marriage. Like, there's some loopholes that I can get behind.
I could go. I've gone behind.
But yeah, but in life, if they are lying, like there is an agreement to lie to other people and they're pretending to be something they're not, and there's shenanigans guarantee, I'm there.
Oh yeah. The one that I wrote, the novel I wrote in November, it has a hidden identity. And I was like, how far can he go without telling her who he really is before it's unforgivable? Because I'm like, I'm just loving it so much that he's like torn. And she has no idea who that. Like, yeah. So yeah, I'm a sucker for that one too. Clearly.
I mean, I don't feel like fate hating is. I mean, that's kind of like comes with the enemies to lovers and the rivals to lovers trope.
I would say that.
I don't think it needs to be a trope because it is part of an established trope. That's what I. But again, I am not the end be all of romance, so who am I?
It's that the
anyway,
girl
guys,
who has to pretend she's not doesn't like the football player. Like, I don't like that guy. Yes, you do.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh, geez, this is gonna be like the tutor and the basketball player or the football player. I don't know. That's very One Tree Hill of me, but you know, I'm a sucker for the first 6.
Haley and
Nathan. Yes.
I was here for that.
Oh no, Laura got brought up tropes.
Laura, you brought up tropes.
So now I know that I have to make one live that is just tropes, talking about tropes. That's it.
Would be awesome.
2 hours of full trope glory.
Please invite me.
I'll put it on the calendar. I'll put it on the calendar.
Yes.
Anyway, friends. Thank you, all of you lovely, lovely humans, for coming here and help Laura. We may have given her more than she probably wanted.
Okay, so I am thinking I might be able to sneak in a fake engagement.
You already have my heart. What else do you need?
Because if they need to try and pull one over Satan, if they pretend they're already engaged.
Yes.
Bring it.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. So I'm glad that we're giving you more ideas and that it helped. Yes, Laura's going big, and we love it. We're here for it. Anyways, do follow all of these lovely people. None of the links are in the description box because, y'all, it's been a Monday, but it'll be there. And if you don't know them, like, what is wrong? Maybe we need to talk. Anyways, in 30 minutes... If you guys are looking to do some productivity and more chaos, go to Coffee Reading Writing, which is Dessa's channel. She streams at 8 p.m. I might be there. Probably be there. I don't know if Nia's going to be there or Laura's going to be there. It's going to be a fun time, a crazy time. Mondays are always essentially this crazy. And Nia's tomorrow. You're streaming this Thursday, right, Laura?
Yes.
She's like,
so
she's like, am I?
I think you are. So follow us around, and that's it. Bye, friends.
Bye.